Hello, Ann Arbor Public Schools strategic partner. We are very excited to welcome you to the 2026-2027 school year. And this is just a little overview video to tell you a little bit more about AAPS and also just to understand some of the resources that you have at your fingertips as an Ann Arbor Public Schools strategic partner. So let's go. So first of all, I'm very excited to have you guys all here again to support our students. As you know, things go up and down in terms of climate and culture, but what always remains consistent is the insanely wonderful support that we have from the community and especially from folks like you. So just know that every day you make a positive difference in supporting our students, and we really appreciate having you on board. It truly takes a partnership with our community to raise and support our children. So you are absolutely instrumental to that. If you want to dive in deeper into all the resources that we're sharing here, we do have a strategic partnerships guide. That's going to be included in a link as a resource, but if you also get into these slides, you'll be able to click on it here as well. So what are we going to talk about today? So if this is your first time being a strategic partner, your first time in this area, we'll talk a little bit about Ann Arbor Public Schools. We're going to share a little bit about some of the community resources and scholarships we have available for students, a little bit about volunteering in Ann Arbor Public Schools, and then touch on some of our policies and procedures, and then some resources you can access if you want to learn more about how to support our students. So first of all, let's talk about Ann Arbor Public Schools. So who is in the AAPS Strategic Partnership Department? Well, it is myself. Hello, I'm Nancy. I'm the Director of Strategic Partnerships and Community Engagement for Ann Arbor Public Schools. It's very likely that you have interacted with me at some point during your time with Ann Arbor Public Schools, but I'm also hoping that you have, and you might have primarily interacted with my supervisor, Jenna Bacalor, who is the Executive Director of Community Division, and she also oversees student health and wellness, well-being. And so she is here as well to provide guidance and support and strategy. And she really primarily focuses on a lot of our mental health partners. So if you are a mental health partner, it's likely that you've interacted with Jenna. So a little bit about Ann Arbor Public Schools. This is information from our fall 2025 student enrollment. And what's interesting about our schools, as you probably know if you're supporting students in our schools, is we have a huge amount of economic diversity. 1 in 4 of our students is from homes impacted by poverty, which is a relatively high number from what you might think in Ann Arbor, but we do have pockets of places in our community and in our schools where we have more students impacted by poverty than others. We also have lots of students that speak English as a second language who are refugees from other communities who are coming to live here, and then many students that have special needs. And so what that really means is that we do have a very heterogeneous community of students, which is great for diversity, but also obviously a challenge for how we make sure that we offer resources equitably, and we're also supporting all of our students in an equitable way. And that's a lot of why we rely on our partners as well to help support students and help them be as successful as they can be. So if you haven't already and you want to learn more about Ann Arbor Public Schools, we've got our website, which you can check out. We're on all the social medias. We also have a news site that has articles and videos, and so that's also a great place to learn more about what's happening at Ann Arbor Public Schools. Some important links that you as a community partner might be interested in. We've got a couple here that are just general staff links to all of our staff that you might want to contact, the directory where you can search for any staff member, and then a spreadsheet that I maintain that you'll be able to see where you can see every principal and secretary so that you have all that information. Next are some click links, so some relevant resources that you might be most interested in accessing. And then, of course, very important to follow is our calendar, so you know when breaks are, when there are early releases, etc. So a great asset of Ann Arbor Public Schools is we have the awesome Ann Arbor Rec and Ed department, and my supervisor, Jenna Bacalor, also oversees it with Sean Williams as the director of the Rec and Ed department. And Rec and Ed is its own standalone organization that provides all kinds of cool stuff. So camps and classes, And so you can look at how to register for those for any students you're supporting, aftercare, before care. And the coolest thing is if you have students that qualify for free and reduced lunch, there are many scholarships available. So please make sure to check that out, access those resources so that you're aware of how you can use the Rec and Ed department to really support the students that you're serving. So now I want to talk even more about some great resources available for students at Ann Arbor Public Schools. So we maintain at the district level a community resources webpage. And so this webpage is constantly updated with resources from local organizations, generally things that are free and low cost. So you can always direct families to that site or you can check it out and see what's available. We also do have scholarships that we provide for students, both scholarships for graduating seniors, some other support scholarships, as well as I referenced, the Rec and Ed department also has scholarships to support students. So now, if you are a partner that has people that might want to volunteer at Ann Arbor Public Schools, I'm going to share a little bit of information about that. We do have a webpage dedicated to volunteer opportunities for community members, and that's at a2schools.org/volunteer. You can go there and see if you're a U of M student or a coordinator of U of M students. There's lots of information on there of how to make an application. If you're just a community member looking for opportunities, you just need to fill out an application and then we will share that information with interested teachers and then we can get you placed at a school. We're going to have this year especially more flexible opportunities. So if you can't volunteer consistently, there still might be something that will work for you. So now I want to talk a little bit about some of the policies we have in Ann Arbor Public Schools that you might want to be aware of. So the first one is recognizing reporting child abuse. And the big reason for that is that we do unfortunately have situations where kids do have something happening at home. And so what we really want as a partner is if you are in our schools or you're working with our students to really know the signs of abuse. And you can reference that on this slide. It can be physical abuse, it could be sexual abuse, it could be neglect. Just really understand those signs. And especially if you're working hand in hand with one of our AAPS SNAP members, being able to have a conversation, if appropriate, about what you're noticing. Next, you can tell somebody. So some of you have your own mandated reporting policies. And of course, if you are a mandated reporter, then you are free to go and file a report. But we would always love if you have a collaborative relationship with our staff. You can always share with us what you're noticing, what a concern is, so that we can also be aware and we can work with what might need to be done. And then, of course, anything that you're noticing, please keep it confidential. Do not share in social media. Do not share with anybody that doesn't need to know. So we can make sure that if this incident is something that may be different than what we're assuming it is, that that's not getting out there in the open. So another type of policy that we have in our schools, which is a federal policy, is FERPA, which is a federal policy around parent consent to disclose personally identifiable information about students. So birthday, name, education status, etc. So it's fine when you're working with our students to get that information from them if that's helping you better help that student succeed in school. But all that information must not be shared outside of the school day unless a parent has provided consent. So we do have some of our partners that have memorandums of understanding and have had their families put together a consent form. And so they do have access and they are able to share that information outside of the school day. But if there is no consent, we cannot disclose information. Same issue if there is an incident that happens at school between somebody that a partner is serving and another person. We can't share any information about that other student because, again, we don't have consent from the parent to do that. So just be aware, and you can get more information about this if you click on this slide when you get the slide deck. So now just a couple of policies and procedures that you might want to know about as a strategic partner. One of them is our visitor protocols. So the biggest thing is it's really, really helpful to not just make an unscheduled visit to one of our schools because a lot is happening during the day. There could be a field trip, there could be testing. It's much better just to call in advance or send an email to whomever you're in contact with and make sure that it's scheduled, that you're expected, so that there aren't any snafus in terms of when you come and visit. You're always going to want to go to that main entrance, ring the buzzer, let them know who you are unless you have a key card. And then, of course, every time you want to check in with the office and get your visitor badge. So those are protocols you want to follow every time you come into the schools. If you're in our schools and there is an emergency, maybe there is at one point we had a situation where there were bank robbers in the community. And so we actually had the school locked so that we could have no issues with our schools. If somebody's having a medical emergency, you just want to be aware that there are some protocols for you to follow. So the first one, of course, is to remain calm. If you're in a building with other students, as calm as you can be is going to help those students deal with whatever is happening. Obviously, you want to follow staff instructions. Every classroom does have emergency signs that talk about some of the different types of emergencies that you may encounter and what adults and students are supposed to do. So that's something that you can certainly reference, but always go and see what the teacher needs, what the staff person needs from you if something is happening. And of course, don't post anything on social media. You want to make sure that the schools are the ones to communicate. And of course, if another thing I would say is if there is an emergency and you are in an office space working with the student and there is no staff around, just go to the main office so that you can be alerted as to what's happening. Something else that we definitely offer all of our strategic partners is if you have an event or activity you want to promote, we're very happy to promote it as long as it's something that's free and open to the public. You can just share it with me, and I'm very happy to get that into our weekly update. I'll let you know if there's any reason that we aren't able to share it, but we can definitely include links to flyers, websites, etc. So definitely share things with me to promote your events. Okay. Well, the final thing I want to share with you is just a couple of resources. So if you're working with our students on any sort of academic support, there's a couple of resources you can get in our guide for strategic partners. There is a resources for learning section, and that section includes a bunch of slide decks from previous trainings that we've done for our partners. We are hoping and planning to do one in the fall again so that those of you who are new can get some refreshers on some of this information. And we can also just get a chance for a bunch of our partners to connect together. So again, you can get some great training resources if you go onto our site and check those out. So that is what I have for you today. I am so thankful for you coming in and supporting our students. I hope that this video was a helpful overview, and feel free to check out our guide for strategic partners for more information, links, and resources. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.